how do I prune my Fiddle Leaf Fig?
There's a lot of different ways you can prune a Fiddle Leaf Fig, or any plant really, and the way you prune it will really dictate the way it winds up looking. You can decide what shape you want long term, which is what we're going to show you. So we're going to approach this in two different ways. So let's zoom out to show you what we got waiting for you.
We have two Fiddle Leaf Fig trees that need a good pruning, so this is going to be perfect. One thing to think about, these trees grow in parts of the African rainforest, and they get huge.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. These trees in their native environment get 40 feet tall. So this is just a little guy, right? Now 40 feet tall is very tall.
Right.
Yet the thing to remember is the African tropical rainforest will have trees over 100 feet tall, like mahoganies. So these guys aren't actually breaching that top canopy. They are sitting under some shade. That's why they have these big, beautiful, thick leaves that are just great at capturing as much possible light.
So think of these leaves as giant solar panels. The new growth comes up here at the top, and these leaves tend to be the largest and the biggest. Over time, the new growth can shade some of these bottom leaves, which can cause them to look diseased or have some brown, and that's a good reason to prune your trees as well. So the reason to prune your fiddle leaf tree is you want to make it the right size. Obviously, most of us are not living somewhere where we can have a 40-foot fiddle leaf tree indoors. You want to make it the right shape, and you want to clean up any dead or dying leaves that can either be caused from sun damage or root rot or not enough nutrients. So let's get right to it. So we're going to do it two different ways. This one, I'm just going to clean up the understory of this fiddle leaf fig, some of these small old leaves. So again, the lower leaves are going to be the older leaves. And then on this tree here, we're going to go ahead and top it so that we go ahead and create branching. So anytime that you cut a branch, there's the opportunity for your fiddle leaf fig to then branch into 2 or even 3 new sections. There's dormant leaf buds that then can grow. So Matt's going to do that. So by topping it here, we're hopefully going to get a branching effect, which will make this really adorable, short, wide-looking fiddle leaf fig, which I'm excited to have.
And let's show you, because fiddle leaf figs famously can start doing this very heavy lollipopping, where you see it's all cleared out down below here. Sorry, I'm trying to get this in the shot.
Let me move this one.
So it's cleared below and then bushy up top. So basically, we're going to show you the one Mandy's working on. Oh, let me keep this in picture a little, although it might be distracting. The one Mandy's doing right here, we're going to try to shape it to be more like a lollipop. Whereas this one, my goal is to keep it short. I had someone come into the store the other day looking to get a fiddle leaf fig, and they were saying, I only have so much ceiling height. What can I do? And I was like, look, you can imagine an invisible line where you're saying, I'm never going to allow this plant to get taller than this line. Now, once you let it get taller than that line, it's really hard to push it back and get growth on that old bark. It can happen, you can do it, but the better way is just to maintain an invisible line that you never allow your plant to cross if you're worried about height.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And if you have a taller tree and you want it to make sure it doesn't bump into the ceiling, you want to cut it at least that invisible line needs to be at least 2.5 feet below your ceiling, so that if you do get any wide branching, they have enough room to have this kind of beautiful, foliage on it. All right, should we jump right in?
Yeah, you want to do some cleanup?
Yeah, so always start with a good sharp shear, and the reason is you don't want to crush the structures inside the stem. You want to give them a nice clean cut. And in addition, if you can sterilize those shears, we just use isopropyl alcohol. You're not introducing disease into that open wound. So like I said, I'm not looking to change the branching structure of this. I'm just looking to clean it up. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some of these understory leaves, and I'll cut them close to the main trunk here, but I don't want to cut this main trunk. So this is going to look beautiful. And here's another thing. You can see this solar panel here is blocking light from this leaf, and that's why you kind of got this not great looking leaf. If I wanted this leaf to grow big, I could remove this leaf and it would grow huge. That's not the look I'm going for, but that's something to think about. All right. Oh, this is going to look really good. So you guys aren't going to believe how quickly this looks like just this adorable mini fiddle leaf. And now the plant can send, look at how small that leaf was. And this leaf is older than this leaf up here, but it just wasn't getting any light. It was kind of struggling in there. So now the plant is going to have more energy to send into these larger, bigger leaves and new growth up top. This is should I do this one? Should we do one more?
Sure.
What do you think?
Let's really get that lollipop look.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, so I'm gonna leave this like this. This is starting to look like a lot of the very traditional fiddle leaf fig trees. And I think it's gonna really explode with some new growth now that it's gonna have a lot of energy. And Matt, I'm gonna switch with you. You're gonna do this one in a different style.
I'm gonna do a little cleanup on the bottom. These leaves, I don't love that they're brushing the pot. It's more likely for disease. I want to be able to allow good airflow to the soil too. So I'm gonna actually take these bottom two off. What do you think?
Okay,
Should
yeah,
I?
do it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, just a little. When you start pruning, it creates hormonal responses in the plant to drive growth elsewhere. So think about it, when you're starting to prune at the bottom, you're pushing pressure upward, which is not what I'm trying to do, which is why I'm about to take the next big cut, because I'm trying to push downward pressure, right? So if I take a cut from this very top right here, the plant will say, oh shoot, this isn't a place to continue growth, and it's going to start pushing its hormones to elsewhere where they'll start concentrating and new growth should start developing. Particularly at this point, I'm expecting at least a single split, and if I keep putting pressure on it, I'll get more splits and get a ton of branching at this one spot is the goal. All right, so now I can't just throw away a beautiful cut like this. Look at this branch, because, I mean, let's try to clone this, right? Like, so I got this glass of water. I'm not gonna do anything fancy for cloning on this guy. I'm just gonna put it in water and see if it takes. I'm not too stressed. If it doesn't, it's okay. In a perfect world, you could apply rooting hormone, which I normally would do, to be honest, but I wanted to show you how to do it and not present it as you need hormone. It definitely increases both the success rate and also the rate of rooting. So you'll find your roots will develop much quicker, but let's just do it without, and it should work fine. If I clip there at those nodes, that's where new roots are going to develop. So I'm going to clip right down. Where do you think the new top should be? Right here?
Just above a node.
Right here? What do you think?
Yeah, oh, okay, yeah.
Is that too low, or? Yeah, let's do this. This is aggressive, but I'm going to do it. Ready? Ooh, okay. And now, I'm even actually going to take off a couple of these leaves so that way I can put this in the water. All right, and so now it's just this right here, okay? And I'm just going to, okay, it's a little tilty, but there we go. And hopefully this roots over into a new clone. I might do something, maybe I'll put like a net pot to hold it straight up just for aesthetic, although I'm sure it doesn't mind one way or the other. And I'm going to change the water, keep my eye on it. And this is how you could do it, but I'll be totally honest, I'm going to put it in one of my fish tanks because it's going to work even better.
How often would you change the water if you kept in the glass?
I would say more regularly until roots start developing, especially if you start seeing any sort of slimy look to it, although it's tough to recover from. You could put, a couple drops of hydrogen peroxide in because your enemy right now is rot. And so just keeping it from rotting until it gets, rooted out.
I always tell people every 3 days or so, because really what you're doing is you're giving air to, if you change the water by just filling that glass, you're aerating the water, which will help with that root rot and sliminess.
I think we've got our two plants, and you can see distinctly how different they look already. This one's gonna be really cool, both of them. But I'm excited. Normally we have our figs growing really tall, splitting out.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun to have some little ones.
I'm excited to try to train one to be kind of more short and stout.
Yeah, I'm excited.